And what is up, everyone out there in YouTubes and elsewhere? This is Caleb from Glyph, and I'm going to talk about another really turdy game. It's Resurrection Rise 2, which is a terrible sequel name because this is actually a sequel to a 16-bit terrible fighting game called Rise of the Robots, which came out on the Super Nintendo back in the day. And it's put out by Acclaim, and this is the Sega Saturn port. I don't even want to think about what the other terrible ports are. I'm hoping and assuming this is the worst port, because often the Saturn would get pretty terrible ports of any non-Sega games back in the day. And it has the official Sega seal of quality there. And as you can see, the Mega Jewel case here that Saturn comes in, which is a big giant case if you guys aren't familiar. And they famously do this where they start to break. So you open it up, and you've got a disc with even more just bad art. I'm not even certain what I'm looking at. I think it's that guy's, the Green Goblin looking, Willem Dafoe Green Goblin guy. But what you do see here is a cool ad for another game that's relatively pretty obscure, D. And just kind of go ahead and preface this. I'm going to do a video on this game soon too, if I can ever beat it. So anyways, here we go. You want to look at the book real quick, which is so hard to get out of these cases. It really is. It's a pain. You open it up and, show the table of contents here. But yeah, it gives them the storyline here a little bit, and it shows you, just in case you're curious, this is what a controller looks like, and this is what the game system looks like. So if you bought this game back in the day, and you were taking it home to say your Philips CDI, you would think everything's fine. You'd open up this instruction manual, because that's the first thing you want to do is read the instruction manual, and you'd realize that, wait, I don't have the right controller for this game, so I need to go out and buy this controller, and then you go out and buy that controller, and then you'd realize, but that controller goes to that, and I don't. Anyways, you get the point. So it's got a stupid storyline. Who cares? I mean, look how long that is. You go in your options right here. Game features, and actually in the game it isn't called options, it's called setup. Yeah. So here we go. We can get into all this crap because no one needs to know any of this. But you can see there's some kind of interesting strategies and techniques that you can get into once you understand the controls. And the controls are, just like Street Fighter or even Killer Instinct in a way. It says fast, mid, turbo, fast, mid, turbo. Turbo? No, it's strong attack. So, and the moves themselves are just copycat Street Fighter simple moves. I mean, other than this back punch, down forward or down up punch. I mean, okay. So yeah, you get the point. So that's what that looks like, and that's what the controls are kind of like. And here we go, the back of the case. Pretty sweet little images here. That's kind of promising. It makes you a little bit excited about it. I mean, it does say that 18 next-generation robots and over 300 devastating moves ensure that without annihilation, there can be no resurrection. I don't even know really what that means as a sentence, but okay. Yeah, look at that. There's little statements for each little picture you see here. You can execute them. I have never, ever once seen the computer do that to me, and I've died endlessly. Nor have I ever been able to figure that out, and I've looked it up online, and I cannot get it to work, and I'm no slouch at fighting games. So, but you'll see that that's not true in this particular game. My favorite emblem, Sega Saturn. It's so beautiful. That was such a great time. So they had so many good fighting games that came out of the system, some of the best 3D fighting games. And then there was this, Resurrection, which was actually developed by Mirage and put out by Acclaim. It's a terrible game distributed by Ingram Entertainment. Came out for the Sega Saturn, the PlayStation, the Amiga, computer. All kinds of terrible consoles were plagued with this game. And the intro song here, which is so startling and annoying, it's actually put out and made and written by Brian May of Queen. Yes, the same guitar player from Queen. That was one of the best. So here's your standard, if not incredibly generic-looking menu system here. And instead of, menu, it's setup. And you've got your difficulty settings, which start out at 12, which we're supposed to assume, I guess, is the mid-grade difficulty, mid-grade. And then you have your timer, which you can change. I usually turn it off. I'm going to keep the whole game standard for this particular playthrough. And the last time I played this game, I made a huge mistake. I tried to basically play as a normal person would in a fighting game where you learn the moves and there's some mechanics. Well, if you give yourself enough time to sit there and kind of observe the game, the computer AI will actually kill you. Like, there's no time to do anything. And if you actually come at them really aggressively, it seems to freak them out. So, I mean, I'm going to be insane. Or am I going to be chiller? I mean, these names of these characters are they're devastatingly bad. So, we're going to go with insane because he's so cool. He's insane. And see how he does. And this is a mistake. Okay, you're going to see this because there's only one person that you can play as. In the original game, this is the sequel to, which is just called Rise of the Robots, which came out on Super Nintendo. That game was also bad, and you could only play as this one character who was just generically called Cyborg. And he was supposed to get all the way to the end of the game and destroy this, one robot that took over, and he was the good robot, and he wanted to kill the bad robot. Like for some reason robots are going to have morals, right? But anyways, so you could only play as him, and he was the main robot. Well, it really is the case that if you play as anyone else, you will probably die because it's pretty bad. As you can see, I'm absolutely getting my butt kicked here, and I'm insane. You would think that insane versus Loader. What kind of name is Loader? That's a terrible, terrible name. What is he? What kind of robot is he that's neon green like that? And why, if he's a loader, why would he be in a fighting game? Why would he be in a fighting scenario, like in an arena? I don't understand that. He doesn't seem to be that kind of robot. He seems to be the kind of robot that would maybe bring the other robots like oil or drinks or, Caesar salad or whatever else robots have to do between matches. So there I am, dying by Loader. Yes, Loader. He was definitely the first person to fight on an average difficulty, and he instantly killed me. So that was the first time I tried to play this game. If you look at the background graphics, they're pretty ugly. But, you can pretty much just pick Cyborg and spam the living crap out of the other enemies. And there's other neater looking robots on there that I would love to play as, and the moves are very much like Street Fighter. If you want to talk about the controls in this game, the controls are a lot like Street Fighter or even Killer Instinct, where it's kind of weak attack to strong attack, and there are 3 punches and 3 kicks. So you do like down forward, and oh my god, what is that graphic from the Journeyman Project Turbo? That looks so terrible. That makes Trapper Keepers look good. But anyways, the controls basically are very much like Street Fighter. Down to forward, does fireballs, and forward down forward does your, uppercuts, and it's kind of like that. And then it also has fatalities in this game, which they're not called fatalities. They don't even actually work. They're called executions. And, they do work, but I can't get them to work. The controls are, really sticky. They just don't work, even the easiest move. And I pretty much just spam the crap out of our Journeyman Project over here and just beat the living crap out of him. And see, that's no problem. You play as this guy, Silver Surfer over here with hips. He's actually, he's a pretty good guy. He plays a lot like Fulgore and Ryu mixed together. And that's what this game looks like to me. It looks like, Killer Instinct took a dump while I was thinking about Street Fighter or something like that. It's just, oh my god. I hate the music in this game. And I'm sorry, Brian May. I love Queen. I love most of Queen's music. But that intro song is so freaking annoying. And what's funny about it is he actually played it during his live shows. It was part of one of his albums that he put out. He actually played that song. The graphics in this game, I mean, look at them. Look at them. You know that's a hideous looking game. It's ugly. Even back then, I was so disappointed. Because think about this. Virtua Fighter 2 was out at this point. Virtua Fighter 2. Dead or Alive. Those games were already out. Tekken 2. And then this game comes out, and it just looks crap. There's too much blue. It's really washed out. The backgrounds are just so freaking boring looking. And why do you care about these robots fighting? There's just no angle here to win. But the graphics are oblivious looking. They're abysmal. They're terrible. They're grainy. The hit detection is really obvious. It's just, I don't know. There's nothing good. There's no scrolling or anything like that to make the graphics look good. Graphics sucks. Obviously, again, the sound is terrible. The hits, all the vocals in this game, they sound so overcompressed. So much so that they're actually, distorted. This game, was supposedly in the arcades. And I remember when the developers made this game, they actually made a statement after it bombed incredibly bad. It got a 2 out of 5, in GamePro and stuff like that. And the developers actually had the nerve to blame that the conversions of the games didn't turn out well. Really, have you looked at games like Killer Instinct or Tekken or any of the Street Fighter games? There's some great console conversions of those games on lesser systems. And here we go. We're fighting Insane. This is the guy who I kept dying with over and over again. So I already know I'm going to beat this guy. And as soon as that psychedelic pizza is complete, and again when it refills, we can fight. Now this background right here. I mean, I don't even know what is this room. I do like the screen being zoomed in a little bit to make it look like it's scrolling, but if you zoomed all the way out, you'd realize it's just a static screen with collision boxes around it so it knows where it's going. This game, it didn't even try. And the controls are bad, the graphics are bad, the sound is pretty bad, and no one's going to want to play this with you. I mean, no one's going to want to play it with you at all. And I just wanted to show this to the world so they can know that it's a giant turd. So I'm going to let you guys kind of just look at this game and watch me trying to get through it and how painful. Think about how painful this is for me. I want you just to think about it and listen to it. God, it is terrible. Yes, of course I won. I'm just mashing buttons. Cyborg wins. With my electricity and everything, it's just nothing interesting about this game at all. I mean, honestly, Eternal Champions is better than this game because at least the sprite work is neat looking. I mean, look at that guy, Steppenwolf. Like, you know what song you're thinking about when you hear that song or hear that name. And you're not thinking about that villain from DC because no. That's terrible. Steppenwolf, really? Come on. And look at the color palette that they use. There's 255 individual color palette swaps per character in this game that you can do. And you can actually, there's some strategy to the fighting in this game. You can actually like knock components off and do some damage and, you can do things like that in this game. But who cares? And there's a super meter at the bottom where you can do like these, super or special attacks. But no one's gonna care. This game sucks. Graphics suck. The controls are like a crappy version of Street Fighter and Killer Instinct took a dump. And did I say the graphics suck? Because the graphics suck. And the sound sucks. Sorry, Brian May of Queen, but you failed. That song is stupid. And this game is stupid. I give it a 2 out of 20,000. But whoa. Is that a female robot with really long fingers? Like Flojo? Is that Flojo bot? Like, look at the name, V1 Hyper. And look at the background. That's so uninspired. What is that, a metal waffle? Ugh. This game makes me want to throw up. Makes me just want to puke all over it. So this is Resurrection Rise 2, which is the sequel to Rise of the Robots, which came out on all kinds of 16-bit consoles at the time. This game bombed in every possible way, and it sucks now. So here I leave you with Resurrection Rise 2 on the Sega Saturn.
V1 Hyper wins. Engage.